Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of Question Block. This is where I answer your questions directly from the YouTube comments to try and give you guys some more tips and my point of view on things. I may have said this in the other video, but I'm not the expert. I just have been playing the game for a little over a year, and I feel pretty confident about my knowledge of it. If there's stuff that I don't know, I will certainly research it, but mostly you're going to be getting my opinions and my thoughts on the matter from a free-to-play perspective. So first question coming, we have, how do you have so much silver? I constantly run out of silver. This is from Cedric Kamga. That's how I'm going to pronounce it, even if I'm wrong. All right, so I talked about this briefly in a more recent video, but you'll see that right now I'm down to 10 million silver. I'm going to tell you the secret that I have is 12 star for gear. Um, I don't take anything to 16 unless it's 5 star or higher, with a few exceptions. One of those big exceptions is going to be this piece right here, because I need that extra crit rate. So I need this to be uh, a full level 16 piece. But most of the time I will take stuff to 12. Now there have been exceptions where I've taken 4 star gear to 16 in order to accomplish a mission or something of the like, but for the most part I'm not taking gear up unless it's going to unless it's a good piece, and it's usually blue or higher, with some exceptions. Speed boots, hard to come by right now, and it's 5 star. So if you look at gear, let's look at boots. Speed. So these 4 star boots only go up to 35. These ones go up to 40. That's because these are 4 star, these are 5 star. So if you're looking to get extra speed, you need to level up your speed boots. 5 speed can make a big difference. It doesn't sound like much, but it can make a big difference. And so that's important to understand. If you're only taking your boots to 12 star, you're not going to get as much out of them. I don't even think I have any that are 12 star at the moment. Filter, speed, but I also want equipped. So these are only 13. You'll see 24. Now those are 4 star boots. When we compare them to these ones, 35. Big difference between 13 or between 24 and 35 on the same star level of boots. So 22 here on the level 12. Now there's a reason that these are on Kale. I need Kale to be slower. Kale is quite fast, although I might finally be able to speed him up. How slow is he now? He's 158. I think I can speed him up. The main reason I haven't done it is because they're 4 star boots. And I would eventually like to get him into some 5 star better gear. So I haven't bothered leveling up these particular boots, but leveling stuff to 12 stars makes a big difference. I leveled a bunch of gear on one of my recent videos. I think it's in like the late 40s or early 50s for the videos. And I take a lot of stuff to 12, but I did take stuff to 16 for the current artifact enhancement event that was going on. But you'll see 12 star, 12 star, 12 star, 12 star, 12 star. These got 16 star because this is a really, really, really good piece, flat out. It's a 6 star legendary piece with defense percent and crit damage, both stats that you would want to have on an Armiger, or any champion for that matter. Would love to see crit rate on these, but I'm happy with what they have there. And then here we've got some defense gauntlets that are pretty good. These are going to be great for a debuffer in the future. Right now they're sitting on my Armiger, but yeah, these are solid. Who do I have anybody running perception that could benefit from those? I like the speed on these ones. Does the Armiger ones have speed? No. So we'll keep those on Armiger because I want that speed. Okay. Um So my secret is that I'm very careful with my silver and I don't waste it on gear that I don't plan on leveling. I'm also leveling champions one at a time. That sounds kind of weird. Like, well, how does leveling champions one at a time save you money on or save you silver on artifacts? Because I'm only building up the gear that I need to. If you're leveling multiple champions, if I'm building gear for Soulbound Bowyer and for Celine, and don't get me wrong, they have gear on them, but a lot of this gear is reused gear from other areas. Like notice that Hofrees doesn't have any gear. Dur has one piece of gear, and it's a 4-star piece that's only level 12. I'm not gearing up these champions. This was all done, I think, to accomplish a mission of some kind. I can't imagine why I would have put all this gear on Shield Guard. Other than that. So, I'm not, and the champions that I'm not using, I'm not really leveling stuff up too crazily. Maybe speed boots, sure, because those boots might get used on somebody else. And crit rate gauntlets, definitely, because that's good gear. You're going to want that type of gear for other champions that you get. But for right now, it's sitting on Husk. That's fine. But look at my Apothecary, all 12-star gear. And quite frankly, Apothecary has kind of been replaced on my account by Ursula in most of my runs, other than Hydra, where they'll both be there. So I'm okay with just keeping this stuff at 12 stars. And so being conservative with your silver is a big thing. The other trick, and I've mentioned this a bunch of times, is where I farm. So I'm on Brutal difficulty, 12-3. That means stage 12, or level 12, stage 3. What is it? Yeah, we'll just call it 12-3. Right here. Why 12-3? The best energy to experience ratio is technically stage 6. You get more experience from this stage than you do from stage 3. However, shields sell for significantly more. If we go back to my gear, I'm pretty sure I have some shields ready for sale, or some stuff ready for sale in the curing set. Oh, why can't I find you? Curing. Yeah. So let's sell this shield. So 20,000 it sells for. Flat stats. So this helmet we're gonna sell 10,000. And this is a blue helmet versus a gray helmet on the other one. So shields sell for more. So anytime I'm farming, I'll show you right now. So as I'm farming, we go through here. And then immediately, I get a champion. But if I got it, I would just immediately sell this piece and then go next. I don't think about it. There is a chance, because curing is a better set now than it was. There is a chance that you could use curing on your account, but it's kind of habit at this point. And I will say that I highly doubt that I'm going to miss any green level curing gear on the account. So I sell it, I go again, I sell it, I go again, I sell it, I go again. That keeps my silver up. A couple of other tricks for silver, if you're further into your account than me, because I'm still relatively low. In the clan shop, there's 3 million gold just sitting right here. I take advantage of this on my main account all the time. I'm saving these for champion fragments, so I won't be buying the silver, but it is there for when you need it. This comes in clutch for me all the time whenever I'm leveling gear, and it's like, oh shoot, I'm out of silver. Let me go get 3 million more, and I do that. You can also get silver, I believe it's once a day from the bazaar. It's only 50,000 silver, which I think is very steep for these bars. But after you get your Drexstar, you start stacking up gold bars, because really the only thing worthwhile down here at that point is the energy, the silver, and the shard. So, I mean, maybe the chicken. I personally wouldn't spend it. So once you start stacking up those gold bars, this is where you can spend it, rather than just sitting on those resources. Now, on my account, I have managed to get silver in Tag Team Arena, and you may be like, but it's their main account and you're only silver. Tag Team Arena is very hard to level in. I think I'm only like silver 2 or 3, and I'm bouncing back and forth between those. So I have bought quite a few void shards out of the silver, but I would love to get to gold and get one of these sacreds. I think this is on a monthly cycle. But those are 2 areas where you can get silver. The final silver trick that I will share with you guys is not one that is available to me at the moment. But when you get to a point where you can forge the big boy gear, meaning the 5 to 6 star gear, let's look at what it uses. It uses legendary fragments or bloodstone. So legendary bloodstone and epic bloodstone. It does not use the rare bloodstone. So if we come down, so if you're going to be crafting and you have access to the legendary materials, you only want to be making 5 or 6. There's no point in making 4 to 5 star at that point. So then if you look at 3 to 4 star, it uses the rare bloodstone. So basically, if you're only forging here for stuff you want to keep, then you have all these extra mats right here that are unused on your account. So now you can forge all that gear and sell it. That's what I do on my main account. It's a great way to make points and silver during Clan v Clan. Forge all that crap gear and just click, sell, right? And that it's a little time consuming, but it's a great way to build up your silver stockpile. Now, that's not how I do it on the free-to-play account, because I still craft this stuff, so I need the rare materials. But once you start gaining access to the legendary materials, things can change for you in the forge. That's pretty much the answer to how I have so much silver. I'm just very, very conservative on it, and I'm only leveling one champion at a time and focusing on that one champion at a time. There have been a few exceptions, but when I've made those exceptions, I have a stockpile of silver, like when I leveled up the Soulbound Bowyer. I also looked at the gear that I was leveling up on them and said, am I going to use this gear in the future on another champion? Crit rate and crit damage shield? Yes. This not so much. Crit rate gloves? Yes. Probably using that again, especially in Destroy. So if you're paying attention and thinking about how you want to, who you're trying to focus on, that's how you go about it. When I built Ursula, you'll see I have a lot more gear leveled up to 16 because this was building on her and focusing on her, and also because of the artifact enhancement event. But yeah, I'm very conservative with my silver. I save it. I don't waste it on 4-star gear that I know I'm going to end up throwing away, unless it's like a really good piece, or I just don't have anything else to put it into, like most commonly speed boots, because they are harder to come by than other gear. So, okay. Was that question 1? So question number 2. Who do you use in Spider and Fire Knight? Oh man, am I not going to be able to show you? Okay. No, I can't. Yeah. All right, well, the answer to your question is the same 5 champions that I use in every dungeon. So my Spider team and my Fire Knight team, I have Sun Wukong, Deacon. I will be upgrading to Ursula the Mourner now, Kale, and Coffin Smasher. They are the same champions on all of those dungeons. And it's just because they're my best champions right now. The key to beating Spider early is to kill the little spiderlings. Well, I'm bringing 2 really solid AoE champions in Kale and Sun Wukong, so they take care of the spiders. Coffin Smasher takes care of the boss, applies a decreased attack and an HP burn to help me tick them down. I apply poisons to the spider when I can. Ursula's going to be a big help because she's going to revive people as they die. Most of my deaths actually come from the little spiders, focusing down one champion, and not so much from the spider wiping my whole team out. And Deacon's just everywhere because he brings decreased defense, turn meter control. He's just a great champion. If you're struggling on... I remember early on in my main account, I was struggling in Spider, and I was like, researching so hard and tight, how do I beat Spider? I gotta beat Spider, and everything you're gonna find is gonna be like Armiger, Cold Heart, and those are great champions, but I made the mistake at the time of like, oh, I'm gonna get a Cold Heart, and I just started pulling a whole bunch of Void Shards trying to get a Cold Heart. And that's not how it works. So Cold Heart is great. She will solve a big problem for you on Spider, but at the same time, kind of be patient with where you're at. Use your best team possible. The only exception I would change for Fire Knight, now that I think about it out loud, is I would put on Fire Knight, I would put Apothecary in over Ursula because I need the multi-hit. And he brings that speed as well. So Apothecary would help me get through. But stage 15, I'm happy with stage 15. I have a chance to get 6-star gear. All right, great. Let's farm there until things change, until I get some better champions and I'm able to progress more, because you're kind of stuck, unfortunately, with who you have. So maybe I pull a Cold Heart, maybe I pull an AoE burner. So the common strategy for early Spider is to kill the Spiderlings and then you just burn down the Spider. Later on, you're actually going to want to keep the spiders alive and light them all with an HP burn, and then they actually tick down the spider's health. So for where I'm at on my account, that's not viable. I don't have a HP burner, so I'm happy sitting at 15. That strategy is usually for like 20 and up. But as long as you have some tankiness and a reviver, you can usually pull it off. So what I would recommend to you if you're struggling in those dungeons would be to build up a team that can bring down the spiders, and try to bring a decreased attack if you can to keep the mother spider from killing your team. As far as Fire Knight, the secret is as simple as multi-hitters. I'm lucky enough to have an Apothecary. My Deacon has a 2x hitter. Kale has a 4x hitter on his A3. And Coffin Smasher has a 3x hitter, and he's in Relentless gear, so he gets extra turns all the time. And that just basically helps me make more progress on Fire Knight. I hope that answers your question. I know that it's probably, whoever your best champions are, that's probably who you should be using. Sometimes there are exceptions because if you need multi-hitting for Fire Knight. On to question number 3. This one's a long one. So this is from Doji Grove Sai and Cernicide. Now that I know that you are doing Q&As, I have one that I don't recall being addressed in your free-to-play series. How do you split your time with farming champions, farming gear, and events/tournaments? I'm in a 30-day free-to-play account and I found your series about halfway through, but I'm having trouble managing my energy. In order to push Deacon to 6-star, I can only farm in campaign because Kale is not able to solo anything other than campaign or entry-level dungeons. I know this is a gear problem because he is fully maxed everywhere else, but if I farm gear, I'm not pushing Deacon to 6-star. Piling events on top of that, I feel like I'm being pulled in different directions, and all of them are suboptimal. Thanks in advance. And then Cernicide followed up. I was wondering the same thing. I zone out in leveling food, and then I decide to farm some gear, but all energy went into food. Okay. Great question. I'm going to give you a general answer, but then I also want to address one of your specific statements. First, I look at what I need in the moment on the account. So right now on my account, I am not focusing on any champions. I'm waiting until the next summon to get somebody good. Or get somebody great. I have good champions. If we look at my, roster right now, Husk is a good champion that I could level up. Eris is a good champion that I could level up. Armiger is a good champion I could level up. Soulbound Bowyer is a good champion that I could level up. Selenia is less viable now that I got Coffin Smasher, but still a good champion that could be put into consideration. And then Petrifier would be another good champion that I could level up. But I'm not leveling up champions right now. So if there was not this event going on right now, I would probably be spending my energy farming Spider. The main reason I would be doing Spider right now is because I need a banner for Coffin Smasher. What is the need for my account? A banner. So I'm going to farm where that need would be fulfilled. Early on in my account, when I needed speed to get my Deacon and my Spirit Host fast enough to do Arena, I was farming Dragon. As far as events go, you need to make a decision prior to the event. I'll say this, for the first month, it would honestly behoove you to probably ignore most events. If there is a chance to double dip and you can look at your account as a whole and say, if I run Dragon right now, it's not going to hold me back and there's a Dragon tournament, let's do it. If it's like, there's a Dragon tournament right now, but I really want to get my Deacon to 6 stars because I know once I do, I'm going to get further in Dragon. I'm going to get further in Clan Boss. I'm going to get further in other areas of the game. So let's do that. Let's level Deacon. So the biggest thing for me from the outset of the game is I was focused on Clan Boss. I told you all, I told myself, I kept saying Clan Boss, Clan Boss, Clan Boss, Clan Boss, Clan Boss. So I made all of my decisions based around that. Kale was my first 6-star. Because he brings poison for Clan Boss. Deacon was my second 6-star because he brings decreased defense for Clan Boss, turn meter. He increases my turn meter, extra turn mechanics, all of that makes Deacon very great. Plus Leech. Leech has been very beneficial to me in my account. So then my third one was Apothecary? It sounds crazy, but yeah, it was Apothecary. Then Coffin Smasher, and then I think Sun Wukong. I think I did them in that order. It may have been Sun Wukong and then Coffin Smasher. I don't remember, but all of it was with the intent of Clan Boss. This is where I want to progress, so this is what I'm going to do. Now, how does this answer your question about when to do dungeons? Well, leveling champions was more important for Clan Boss than dungeons because of masteries. I need to unlock that tier 6 mastery, which means I need the champions to be 6 stars. Because mastery is where you get a lot of your damage. I remember, when Kale first got to 6 stars, I threw him in this lifesteal gear. I got him War Master, and then Brutal was easy. I could solo Brutal at that point, even with the gear that I had at the time. All of this gear, you may there's a caveat there, but all of at least 4 pieces of this gear you may recognize. This is all the gear from the Sun Wukong event. It's been on Kale ever since. So if you're 7 days in, you have this gear sitting on you. And I'm pretty sure, not 100%, but the boots were speed boots. The chest was attack chest. The gloves were crit rate, and the weapon is the weapon, but I'm willing to bet they programmed it to give you the right stats on this gear. Or I got incredibly lucky. Now, this gear is an exception to my comment. The problem with this gear is that it was during a very special event where you would flip cards and have a chance at 6-star gear, which blew up my account. I mean, I gained so much progress from that. I got this Killstroke gear. I got the Righteous gear. That's pretty much all that I got out of it. But all of that gear made a huge difference for my account, and it did give me a bit of a bump in progression. Which was why I was able to farm maybe a little bit earlier than normal. But the big thing for Kayle farming was the masteries. So my recommendation for any new account is level up your starter champion first to 6 stars, then use your gems to fully master them out. And now they are your Minotaur farmer if you don't want to use gems. They are your campaign farmer. They are your clan boss damage dealer. They are your boss damage dealer because they're applying poisons. Kayle does it all. Now, is Sun Wukong the better farmer? Absolutely. But Kayle checks off more boxes to start than Sun Wukong does. And then eventually you can work your way to getting that Sun Wukong up. Likewise, make sure you're paying attention to Ascension. One thing that I made a mistake on early on is I didn't ascend my Deacon. When I finally did ascend my Deacon, it was crazy because I never read this ability about filling the turn meter and granting an extra turn. That was only when he's 3-star ascended. You got to make sure you're paying attention to that. So once I got Deacon ascended to 3 stars, even as a level 40 or 50, my team was getting sped up. I was taking the turn meter away from enemies and applying decreased defense all in the same turn. Huge. Now, also, farm at the difficulty that is the best for you. 12-3 Brutal is the end point, but you may not always get there. A couple of great places to stop at along the way. Palace of Aravia is a great place to farm because you have a chance to get Eris, but you also have a chance to get speed gear. I would recommend farming on stage 6 in that scenario because then you have a chance of getting gray speed boots. And you may say, well, I don't want gray gear. That's common. That's useless. I don't want that stuff. Well, it's great on a Spirit Host, Speed, that's all you want on these boots. You just want to be faster. Who cares about the substats? You're a new account, right? It's like we don't need to worry about that stuff right now. We can, we don't have to be so greedy early on. But then later on, it'll make a difference. But you get a chance to get that Eris as well. Worst case, you get some of the other champions that can be food. So that's a great stopping point. The second great place to farm would be the Deadlands because you have a chance to get War Maiden. If you did not pick up Deacon Armstrong, War Maiden is your best friend because she does bring the big version of decreased defense on an AoE. So you would want to bring her as instead of a Deacon. So now let's answer your specific question as I get a little more comfortable here regarding Kayle not being able to solo. He's likely not in lifesteal gear. My Kayle, I'm nervous. I've been nervous to take my Kayle out of lifesteal gear because I was not confident he would be able to farm without it. I was also nervous he wouldn't be able to survive as long against Clan Boss. Lifesteal has been the big part of that. And in the early game, lifesteal gear is very, very good and important. Basically, Kayle would get to almost dead and then heal himself up. I was also not 100% on 12-3 Brutal for a little while there. For a little while there, Kayle was actually dying, I'd say probably 1 every 25 runs or so. If a perfect sequence of events happened where the bombs landed, 2 bombs landed, and he got attacked twice by the other 2 mobs, um, Kale would sometimes die. I was okay with that. I still farmed at that difficulty, and just sucked it up every time it happened. And you still gain some experience, I noticed, when that happens. So I'm not telling you to farm it in areas where you die. I'm just saying that, um, you know, lifesteal gear is what made the difference for him as far as soloing specific levels in campaign. Um, so I would make sure you have full masteries on Kale, make sure Kale's booked out, and then make sure that you're running lifesteal gear. That's going to give you the best opportunity. Now, you may not have good um, accessories either, but you just want to make sure, because Kale should be able to farm 12-3 Brutal. Just plain and simple. If he's in lifesteal gear, he can do it. Um, so my recommendation would be to just take a look at Kale's gear. Kale had the best gear on him until I made the switch to Sun Wukong. He had this kill stroke set right here, so he had huge crit damage and a little bit of extra speed out of it. And then this is just flat out some of the best gear I had on the account for a very long time, even kind of now, because it had the main stats I want: attack percentage, speed, crit rate. I mean, everything that you would want for a starter champion, it's all right there. So, yeah, you just want to make sure that you're building them right and that you're getting those masteries. These masteries make a big difference when you're creating your starter champion, your first 60. So, okay. I hope that answered your question. Let me reread real quick. Let me skim over the comment real quick and see. I guess I didn't really talk. So when you're deciding tournaments to go for, I briefly covered this and I may have gone off on a rant. You want to mentally prepare yourself that I'm going for this event, and that you're all in at that point. If you're not all in at the start of an event, that's okay, but you need to give yourself a mental out. So, for example, if I was to do the Dragon tournament starting right now, I would say, okay, I'm going to farm a little bit of Dragon, but I'm not going all in. And then let's say that in the middle of this tournament, I somehow randomly pulled a legendary and said, well, we're going to campaign. I'm okay with that. If you're in a scenario where you're like, I'm going all in on this Dragon tournament, and you pull that legendary has to wait. You made a decision. So, but if you're just casually into something, give yourself an out and say, no, I want to level champions instead. But early game, it's so much better to level champions than it necessarily is to get gear. You're going to get gear through other things like they're not going to pop up for me anymore, but you get like when you get Shaman and you get Jizzo and the free legendaries, you get really good gear out of that. It usually rolls pretty good too. So, that can be a boost for you. If you get to a point where you're like, I don't have anybody I want to level right now, go run some Dragon. Dragon should be your secondary focus to Clan Boss. The reason I say that is the same team that you're running in Clan Boss is the same team you're going to be running in Dragon. They're essentially the same boss without the single target stun, if you think about it. AoE damage, high health pool, poisons, decreased defense, all the things that you want in Clan Boss you can apply in Dragon. So you're taking the same team in there, and you're going to see your biggest progression in Dragon across the account, because you don't have to worry about any other mechanics. It's the same ones you're already conquering in Clan Boss. Dragon just also happens to drop the best gear that you want early game. Speed gear, accuracy gear, lifesteal gear, toxic gear. Hell, I think, yeah, even Stalwart is really good too. That's where you should be farming, because you're going to do your best farming there. And at that point, you're also just getting good stats on gear, because stats over sets. I don't really have a good example because I've been pretty lucky. I guess I'm pretty lucky with gear, but you'll see here, even there, I got 2 sets. So here's a great example. Stats over sets. Yes, I have 1 set here, but stats over sets. And that's going to make a big difference to getting your champions further and further. I hope I answered that question. It was complex. It's a complex answer, but you just need to pick your goal and stick to it. I want Deacon 6 stars. We're going to make it happen. That's my focus. Oh, there's a really good event. Sorry. Deacon's my focus. That's what I'm doing. There'll be other events. I promise you. There's always events. Question number 4. This will be our final question. Wow, that's really impressive this is from Max Muster Mancoft 500 Melon 9. Jeez. Wow, that's really impressive on a 45-day free-to-play account. Can I ask where you show your team and their gear? Well, this was just an opportunity mostly for me to show the gear that I have, because this is a common question. I did mention earlier in this particular video, the Righteous gear and the Killstroke gear came from a specific event where you flipped cards and got gear. It was a great event. I hope they bring it back. But that's the gear that I have. So if we look at the stats on Sun Wukong, 102 crit rate, 161 crit damage, 164 speed, almost 4,000 attack at 3,700. Yep. I mean, this is from Clan Boss. This is from Clan Boss. Crafted this. It's a crit rate piece. We want crit rate right now because ideally later on in late game, you'll have crit damage gloves instead of crit rate gloves, but I'm not going to be able to achieve those crit rate totals I want, so I'm going to have to use crit rate gloves. All this gear is just really, really good. If we look at Deacon, Deacon's in Perception. I would love to have him in a speed set as well, but I don't have as fast of boots. And I do need the extra little bit of accuracy here too. So, but this is the gear that I have on him. I really don't know how much to kind of talk about, but I want Deacon to survive. So we have defense on the gloves, HP on the chest. You could flip those. It's really just, those are the only stats. I basically did a search, right? So I filter and I say, I want HP percent or defense percent on my gloves. What pieces do I have? And then it's like, well, I want them to be perception pieces because I need to have accuracy and speed on this champion, making perception a great set. And these gloves win out because they have speed on them, right? Ursula, I just built Ursula. I need Ursula to be fast. She needs to be at least 2 speed behind Deacon Armstrong. Deacon goes first in arena with Ursula following up. She gives me increased attack on my team. There's a chance that she can reduce the attack on the enemy team, which is great, but mostly I want her to increase my attack before my Sun Wukong and my Kale go. So that's why Ursula is in speed gear, so that she can stay behind. As far as why she's in resistance gear, this just rolled really, really good on accuracy, which we want her to have. And then this is 5-star boots that are speed. That's the only reason. All the substats, it's got HP percent, great. And a little bit of accuracy, great. But I don't care about the resistance, is what I mean to kind of point out here. It's just the boots are really good, and the weapon is pretty good because of the accuracy roll there. Plus the HP, a little bit of attack. Not worried about the attack, but I do need to go through, and now that I'm looking at this, let's do this real quick. We need to up that HP. Give me a little bit more HP, please. Thank you. Not worried about the attack at all. But yeah, make sure you know what you're looking for. We want survivability on this champion. So I'm just looking for any instance of like HP percent or defense percent that could use a little bit of a buff. And I don't want to buff this speed because if I make her any faster, she goes before Deacon, and Deacon, I can't make him any faster right now until I get speed boots with speed that have accuracy would be preferred. Okay. Kale, I just talked about him in depth. Lifesteal gear. I would love to replace this. I'm considering experimenting with it, but for right now, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He's doing the damage I need. He's working out for me. I don't see a need to change this at the moment, but I would love to eventually change this for sure. Apothecary is my weakest kind of just hodgepodge of gear. I just kind of threw stuff on him to give him survivability, speed. You know, he's not a champion that I really heavily invested in at the time. Even now, I'm glad I didn't, because Ursula has kind of taken his role. And then Coffin Smasher. Coffin Smasher is in HP chest. Crit rate for the gloves, I want him at 100% crit rate. We do have accuracy set on him to try and get as much accuracy as possible. I want an accuracy banner very, very badly. I'll take whatever banner I can get right now, but accuracy banner is what I want, because we need him landing his HP burn and his decreased attack on Clan Boss. I was lucky enough to be able to complete, because of this awesome helmet here, I was lucky enough to be able to complete a Relentless set on him. It's not always guaranteed. I wouldn't say focus on Relentless for him. I'm just lucky enough to make it work. And in a non-speed tune team, Relentless is amazing. If I could have Relentless on all of these champions that are on my Clan Boss team on a non-sped team or speed tune team, absolutely I would take that. Getting chances to generate more of those abilities, right? So that's why he's in Relentless. But mostly it's just because I had a really good HP percent chest plate in Relentless, really good crit rate gauntlets in Relentless. This helmet for an HP based champion is absolutely huge to get that 21% right there. And I really could give him quite a few buffs on this gear. You'll notice he's actually one of the few champions that I don't have a lot of enchantments on. There's no reason for that other than I just have not been paying attention. So I'm literally looking at it now and being like, why is he not enchanted? And it's making me regret that I used some of my good enchants on other champions just the other day, because I would really love to be able to see the enchants on him. So I'm going to go back after this video and get some of this stuff enchanted up to make him even stronger and get more out of Clan Boss. So those are the best champions to kind of go over. I do have Eris in a toxic set. This was a brief solution until I think I put an Apothecary over her. Or no, Coffin Smasher over her. But because of her abilities where she gets the counterattack, she gets to apply the small version of poison fairly often. If you do that, just make sure that you're leaving room on your debuffs. You can only have 10. Armiger is just kind of in a bunch of defense gear. He needs to be crit capped at 100% crit rate. I don't have that. A big part of it is just gear. You know, I don't have... I need accurate... Armiger, great champion, can be difficult to build sometimes, because you need him to be 100% crit rate in order to do the decreased defense, or decreased turn meter, which is the big reason why you want him. And it can be hard to get the speed, the accuracy, the defense that he needs to survive as an uncommon early on. Great champion. Still may level him up to 6 stars at some point in the future when I need turn meter control, but for right now, level 50 on him, I'm pretty happy. Don't really have too much else to go over. This is a mix of gear. I had Soulbound Bowyer in Destroy gear to try and beat Scarab, because she was one of the only factions that had Blood Shield Ring. Quick note, this is just a general note for those of you that are still watching this late into the video. Please notice I didn't get greedy and level her up to 5 stars. One champion at a time, folks. Could she have, if she was 5-star, could we have beaten Scarab Boss? Probably. But one champion at a time. I try my best not to break that rule. The only reason that Armiger and Eris are even 50 was because of missions where I needed to ascend someone to 5 stars, and all the champions that I had single focused on were already fully ascended, and I couldn't complete the mission. Husk is level 50 because he was going to be my focus, but I pulled an Ursula and I changed and did Ursula instead. And I'm very happy with that because if you in my most recent video, I might be able to 4-key Nightmare Clan boss for the first time. So we did a lot. We discussed a lot. We're at 45 minutes, which is a little bit longer than I want for these videos, but I will try to get better and faster at talking and answering your questions without rambling. Thank you guys for watching. Please, please, please put comments on this video. Let me know what you guys want to know. Let me know if there, even if it's stuff you want to see on my main account. Do you want to see what my clan boss team looks on my main account? Do you want to see what my Fire Knight and Spider teams look like on my main account? You know, are there questions about when to ascend, when to farm potion keeps, when to, whatever questions you guys may have, put them in the comments. I go through right before this video, I go back and I read every single comment that's posted, and I pick the ones that I can answer and make a video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all the support, and I will see you in the next video.